We've gone through some periods of quite a bit of uncertainty and trying our best to sort of get a handle on understanding all the changes in the world. Just the other day, we were introduced as a world to the third Prime Minister in 2 months in the United Kingdom. That may seem a very small thing in many distant parts of the world, but it will have implications, and certainly has big implications in the future of the United Kingdom. But it also has things to say to those of us who are observing and who are trying to be good students of leadership, of governing, and of what the future of the world actually looks like. All of these big changes happening in a short period of time, and problems like issues around our economies, the education of our children, and things of that nature, create a level of uncertainty. And so people wonder about the future, people wonder about what the state of life will be like. So I want us to look at a passage of scripture that will help us to sort of answer the question personally: are you sure about yourself? Are you sure about the future? And where can you certainly put your confidence? Stay with me for the next few moments here on CITAM Church Online. My name is Reverend Kwame Rubadiri. The book of Jeremiah, or the prophet Jeremiah, the prophecies around his life, are perhaps some of the darkest statements in all of Scripture. It's a book full of woes, lamentations, judgments, a future that looks entirely bleak, with no real hope, no real certainty around it. And yet, it's interesting that throughout the book, which is mostly conversations between God and the prophet being given instructions to say to the king or to the nation of Israel as a whole, we see glimpses of hope. We see glimpses of grace, as I like to call them. And one of them is found in Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 7 and 8. Before these verses, we hear of many curses, many judgments, many sorrows that are going to come upon Egypt. And then suddenly in the middle of the chapter, we read these words: "Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in the year of drought and never fails to bear fruit." Then the conversation goes back into the dark statements, the sad statements that are part of the majority of the book of Jeremiah. Here and in a couple of other spots, we see this wonderful ray of hope, this wonderful shaft of light breaking through the darkness. God says that blessed are those who have their confidence in him, not in institutions, not in people, not in leaders, not in the promises that may have been made by those who are seeking political office, but their confidence is in God, because they know that God is the one who holds the future. God is the one who sustains. God is the one who actually has the promise and the foundation of hope that we may have a future. And so I'd like to ask you, as I ask myself, where are we putting our confidence? And are we sure about the things we put our confidence in?